got the Western upside down. I want to take a minute, just sit right there. I became the prince of a town called Bethlehem. Hey, where you from? West Philadelphia, born and raised.
Welcome back. Thank y'all for tuning in. We are the DMV's Vibe Podcast. I know when y'all see this show, it's no longer going to be October, but I promise you it was recorded while it's still in October. We did not want to have a show where we did not discuss domestic violence awareness because that was part of October, as well as breast cancer awareness month and World Mental Health Day. I really wanted to tone in on domestic violence awareness this month because we had a big show last year for breast cancer awareness. But domestic violence awareness is super, super important. From seeing so much happen with Blueface and Krishan. Yes, and I don't even think they realize how toxic they are because they're in the public eye. A lot of people just make light of it.
But do you feel like they do know? But it's like a sensationalization of it. Like it's entertaining to people now. Like that's what I feel like. I feel like there's an entertainment factor to it because like even with Lizzo dressing up as her for Halloween, it's just like it's not funny. Like I mean, I get okay, it's Halloween, whatever, but to really realize the type of situation that Krishan is in, like she's in a detrimental situation.
And it's bleeding out everywhere else. I don't know if y'all watch, first of all, I do not like Natalie Nunn.
I can't stand her long face ass.
I don't
even mean like that on air, but
I really used to fuck with Bad Girl Stuff. I thought I was gonna be on there. That's neither here nor there. Cause I really didn't need to go on there. I probably would went to jail or something.
I'm not gonna ask.
But I do not like how when she's giving them an opportunity to make some money in BEPs. That show now is trash. All they do is fight. You don't really get to see nothing that they're doing.
They don't look like they're happy. Like it's not.
Because it's forced. When you're taking all these people with all those different personalities and you're taking people who, granted, they weren't on the same show, but you're still forcing all these personalities to be in a confined space. And they all feel like they have a placement and they're all there for different reasons. Some people are just there to support their brand that they're trying to build. Mm-hmm. But then you have people who just, I'm here because I need a check.
Yeah, I don't watch anything with the Zeus Network.
I don't know what's going on with Zeus.
Because it seems like everything that they play is just, or all the shows they have, it's not conducive to my mental health. Not saying that I don't enjoy my share of what they would call ratchet TV, because I'm gonna get me a good Real Housewives of Potomac. Actually, I really
they bougie. They bougie.
They don't even live in Potomac, goddammit. I don't really watch Love and Hip Hop at Atlanta or I don't like Miami. I can't. It's a little too much for me. So certain things I just can't. I can't get into that, and like just a lot of the shows that's on the Zeus Network, like it just seems like literally all they do is fight. Like I don't feel like there's anything else outside of just fighting, cussing each other out. Like that's ratchet TV.
It is. So Zeus, I really had high hopes for Zeus when it first came until I realized that they was doing shows telling people to try and fix something and they wasn't fixing nothing but fighting. And I'm just like, I don't understand why y'all got security because they still gonna fight. So why even have the show?
Mm-hmm.
But I did not watch whatever season they're on. I just happened to see clips of the reunion and that last show Krishan was on.
Mm-hmm.
She was still fighting. Like she squared up about 4 or 5 times during this reunion. And this one clip, the clip was like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, I just.
And it's like, who are you really mad at? Like, what? Something is fueling that anger for you to lash out like that. But it's not just females that you're lashing out at, because seen you box your nigga and get arrested. But then you still keep getting this nigga tatted all over you.
So, like, her self-esteem is just not there, and it's a lot of people, and it's males too, like that their self-esteem is so low to the point where people will literally stay with somebody just for the sake of saying they have somebody. And I'm gonna tell y'all one thing about me is I need my peace. So when it comes down to you really starting to disturb my peace and my mental, I don't, man or not, love you to death or not, you gotta go. Like or if I start to feel like I'm coming out of my character, if I start acting like Krishan, y'all please knock me upside the head immediately. Okay, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Knock me out, please.
Yeah, like y'all have heard me talk about my last relationship was 2 years ago, and a lot of stuff happened in that where it brought me back to an old place where I had been delivered from placing my hands on people, but he got me out of character, got me back in that mode where I knew it was like, all right, yeah, I can't do this because you're making me be somebody I shouldn't be, and from everybody on the outside looking in, they're looking at me like I'm crazy, but they're not looking at what you did because you didn't physically do anything that day, but it was so much other shit that you did that led up to that point. And so I was the one in the streets looking crazy. I mean, God bless you for not calling the police because I ain't need them type of problems, but it was not okay for me to do that. Um, I should have handled it differently. And so I did have to apologize to them. I didn't apologize for wanting to do it. I apologize because I should have handled it differently. I shouldn't even gave that energy.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to stay with. I don't care if you have kids with somebody. Don't let anybody physically harm you, mentally. Like if you are questioning if what somebody did to you is okay, 9 times out of 10, it was not okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you're scared to tell somebody else what took place, it was not okay. Um, I don't think people understand how serious it can get
Mm-hmm.
until it's too late. A lot of times, I don't know if y'all one of them people who watch like Snapped or the ID channel. Some of them people that got locked up for killing their spouses, they was being abused.
That's why they have the burning bed syndrome, and it's something else that they have now because of that. Um, like people can only take but so much, and I think for my last relationship, without saying so much, because uh, ain't no hate there, ain't no beef there, but I got to the point where I started questioning myself as a partner, and but I knew that I wasn't doing nothing wrong, and it became mentally draining because I'm the type of person that take on other people's problems. So I started to take on everything else that he was dealing with and not thinking about myself. And I mean, it even got to the point where like my brothers were like, "Yo, sis, what's up? Like, this not you." And it's no hard feelings because, like Like I said, if you know, you know. No hard feelings, still love him to death. Wish him all the best. But for me, mentally, it was just that relationship was a lot, and that relationship wasn't even that long. And
But a lot can happen, whether it's 30 days
but
or.
it was a lot. So now I'm just cooling. Still in the process. I'm not completely over the situation, but for the most part, I am. I'm over it enough to where I'm not bothered by everything, but I am still triggered by certain things. Um, but when it comes to relationships, it doesn't always have to be a physical thing. Cause like I never put my hands on him. He never said anything. Like he never treated me like that way in that sense. It was just other things that I feel like impeded our relationship being successful. And we talked about it, that long talk about it. So we're in a much better place now. But everybody doesn't even aren't even able to reach that place in relationships or past relationships with people. Because I don't play that putting your hands on me stuff. Like I've never been in those type of situations, and I thank God. I hope I never have to be, or I'm never subjected. Let me say that, to anything like that. But I will say that if it's what you see with Krishan and Blueface, that is not okay. That is toxic as hell. It's dangerous because I feel like it's only going to get to the point where somebody going to end up in the hospital, like for real, like really, really messed up.
Somebody going that it don't lead to death.
Right, will die because it's just like, when do you get to the point where you look at yourself and be like, this ain't it? Even Blueface, like when do you where do you get to the point where you're just like, you not tired of it? Because at this, somebody got to get tired. Somebody has to be tired at one point in this relationship. Exactly.
It's like, so I went through some things in a previous relationship. Like me and that person were together for about 5 years, and it was one time that he got really drunk, and basically he said something, and I didn't like what he said, but I'm like, yeah, you tripping right now. For you to even say what you say, you're tripping. So the liquor that he had left, I tossed the bottle in the middle of the street. Like, you don't need to drink no more. You need to go home because you're tripping right now. Slim swung on me without questioning, because my automatic responses was on go. Like, you got me fucked up. But it took me a couple of days for me to really let it sink in. Like, it was not okay.
Yeah, because like he really swung on you.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And I know, especially like for dads, like that's their biggest fear for their daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I had joked with my dad about this, but I know that it's not okay. That I said that I'll be calling for some bail money before a motherfucker ever do that to me again. Um, but you have to be so mindful of how people react to things, because everyone is not going to react the same way that you would. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be mindful of other people's triggers as well as yours, especially when you're in a relationship. Because something that may trigger Fearless may be nothing to me. You just be like, all right, whatever. But for it's different things that'll send people just over the top. Mm-hmm. To where it's no coming back. I know when I was younger, I was one of those people that if I have ever got into a fight out in public, it was not safe because I didn't know how to control that anger. And so I tell people, like, your partner can get like that too. Whether you want to believe that or not, if your partner has ever been violent with you at least once, then that means they have the capability of it going further.
And it's probably not the first time that they've been violent towards anybody, period. So.
Exactly. So it's very important to pay attention to that. I know a lot of times as females, we overlook some of those red flags. And don't get it twisted, because there are females who are just as aggressive and violent as men are. It can even, domestic violence is not always between two partners. It can be, between a male and a female. It can be two females, it can be two males. Um, you just need to be very aware of how someone is talking to you, as well as treating you. So that you, and then have a backup plan. Like once you getting into a space where you have started to recognize certain signs, you need to have a backup plan. I tell people this all the time. If I go on a trip with someone, I don't care how long I've known them, somebody has to know where I'm at. I gotta know, pay attention to how I got here if I'm not driving my own vehicle. And I have to learn the schematics of where we're staying at, because I always have to have an exit plan. Like, probably because I don't watch too much TV, but it's like it's better to be prepared than not prepared at all.
Yes, I agree with that. Only one of my friends got my location now. We don't share location with
I share my location with my older brother. He didn't really give you too much of a choice, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but it's not just about even going with someone that you may feel comfortable with, because nowadays things happen and you could be attacked out here, whether you're a male or female. So it's just a safety precaution. If you know someone who is, or you suspect that they are, in a domestic violence situation, do not approach the person that you think is causing that harm. Because if you leave without that person, or if that person is not in the space where they're ready to go, you're putting them in danger. Um, there are several different ways that you can seek for help. I do have a couple of numbers and resources if you know someone who is in the space and ready to talk to someone. I do have several resources. You can reach out to the podcast page, and I will make sure that you are provided those numbers. The best thing that you can do for someone who is in that space and they're on the victim side is, if you're spiritual, pray for them, but do not become that wedge or try to save the day. Because if the person who is the victim is not ready to leave, it'll be an ongoing cycle, and as I stated, it will cause more harm than anything. October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month. If you didn't see last year's show got really deep.
Yes, it did.
We're Pretty Pamper Queens Auto Club was in the building. Shout out to them, and congratulations, TT. TT got engaged. Mm-hmm. They came through for that show. And shout out to Dominique for being open and vulnerable to that show, and transparent to her whole journey. She is a breast cancer survivor. Ladies, and I emphasize on ladies first, please go get tested. Go get y'all mammograms. If something don't feel right, please. It is very important to get it checked out. Even if something just don't feel right to you, it might not even be like a whole real lump. Just make your appointment, go to your doctor and say something don't feel right. I'd rather be safe than sorry. The sooner you find out, the better plan that they can put in place to help you.
And please don't think just because you are a certain age that you cannot have breast cancer. There are people that are our age that actually are survivors. And our age group, we have to be persistent because they really don't start checking women now until they're what's like 45. But there are, as you can see, cancer overall is happening in people younger and younger. And so there are women in their 20s and their 30s that are actually being diagnosed with breast cancer. I am hopefully, and I'm working on this, want to get tested for the BRCA gene because my grandmother had breast cancer. She was 35 when she had it. So I just want to be able to get tested. And plus, cancer. I've had several family members that have had cancer. Um, um, so I want to get the genetic testing done just to be on the safe side. So definitely, ladies, please touch your tatas. Okay, and people are always showing videos on how to do it, diagrams. You go in the doctor's office, they show you how to do it. So
little pamphlet.
Right, so definitely make sure that you take the time to check your breast once a month. They usually say if you're still on your cycle, check it when if that were your monthly check it around the time of your cycle. And you can do it, while you're in the shower or stand in the mirror and do it. But always pay attention to your boobs.
Yeah, save the tatas. 1 out of 8 women in the United States receive a breast cancer diagnosis. And I want you to understand that not just women can get breast cancer. There are men that can get breast cancer. Um, they do have, I know specifically in the DC area, they have great support groups for people who have been diagnosed, as well as going through therapy, especially with your family, because your diagnosis is not just for you, it will affect your family as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is important to have them be of um, a part of the plan and the decision making, because some people decide that they do not want to deal with and go through treatment. They do not want to have surgery. So it is a lot. I did. One of my friends, one of their family members had it, and thankfully, she went through her treatments and had surgery, and so she is doing well now. But I know that was a scary time for them. Like, I stayed in contact with them throughout that whole process, and it can be overwhelming. It can be a lot. Not, as I stated, not just for the person who was diagnosed, but for the overall family, especially if it's someone who is like the rock of the family.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can be hard to hear, but once you hear those words, you have to still keep them open to listen to whoever that diagnosis was for, to be able to be present for doctor's appointments. Because sometimes the person who receives that news, they take it a lot harder than what they'll ever show you. And they may not fully be able to take in all the information from the doctors that they need. And so having a support system is really big for any diagnosis that is given. Um, I hope that I really think that they should change the way that it's set up, because you know how they say, like, once you are sexually active, then you should go to your OBGYN once a year, at least once a year. I think that it should be like, once you are developed up here, you should be able to get
because
checked
teenagers.
just as frequently.
I had one of my best friends in college. She actually had cysts in her breast in her teenage years. So, because we have to remember, like, that's fatty tissue, and at this point, we don't know why these things happen to us. We don't know why things form in our body. But when it comes to those type of things, I think we should get checked, and I think we need to stop assuming that everything is only happening in older people or a certain age group, because now it doesn't. As we can see, cancer affects anybody at any age. So we definitely need to revamp that, but also revamp the healthcare system. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day, because the healthcare system in America can really kiss the bottom of my ass.
Yeah,
disrespectfully.
It is very expensive
Mm-hmm.
for healthcare here. But the one thing I will say is, while they should be finding a diagnosis, the one thing that they have advanced is technology and how they do this, how they do screenings now, the quality of pictures that they can take during those screenings. Um, it's supposed to give us comfort, but I know sometimes people are more scared of going to get the test than scared of knowing what's going on with them. Like, please don't let that be you. As we talk all the time, your physical health is just as important as your mental health, and they actually go hand in hand. So, like, you will have to work on both. And just because you get diagnosed, it does not mean that it is a death sentence. Just be proactive, be open, and I always tell people, go get a second and third opinion, because just because they told you at a hospital this doctor was good.
Yes, because some of these hospitals trash.
I've experienced having to go to several doctors in order to be like, okay, I heard what he said, but this is the first time I'm hearing it, so I just want to double check and make sure that everything was good. So I know y'all looking like, that may cost me some money. It'll be worth it, because sometimes people are more invested in getting that money from your healthcare provider and you than they are actually doing the research to see what the real issue is. Also, I know I've had discussions with friends on Facebook about specifically Black women finding Black doctors to go to, because a lot of doctors of other races don't listen to our needs. Most providers um, can list, like I know Blue Cross Blue Shield, they have a super long list where you can go on their website and find providers. You can, from what I was told, you can actually schedule to go in and speak to the healthcare professionals in certain offices before actually booking an appointment to make that your new doctor. So definitely take the time to do your research, because your health is important. Don't just go because that's who you always went to, or that's who your mama went to. Um, because we're in a space now where some of these doctors, they too old to be still practicing medicine.
No, for real.
And they have these mindsets of, well, this is what I always did. And it's like, we're in a different time and age now. If you're not going to listen to me and my needs, then what am I paying you for? Because y'all get paid a lot of money just to, and then tell me that I need to go get some medicine, or I need to go and do this here. I don't want it to be all about a check.
That's what it's about for a lot of them.
So just take your time. Be patient. Don't get frustrated. Trial and error. The same way us Black women be going to try all these different hair products, try different doctors. But definitely make sure that you take as we stated, your health seriously. Get tested. Like I said, it ties into that mental health. World Mental Health Day was October the 10th. Y'all know we talk about mental health every show. We're going to talk about it.
Yep.
I don't care if y'all get mad, get sick and tired of it. We're going to talk about it. Because your mental health is only going to be a priority for you, not for anyone else. Make sure that you take it seriously. Have your me time. Do whatever you need to do to be in the
mindfulness moments. That's like taking time to like breathe, or finding moments where it's just like, all right, hold on, let's reset. I think that's really, really important, especially throughout the day, especially with work. Um, COVID really, really is still affecting a lot of people, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, socially, like all these things is people are still affected, whether we want to believe it or not. So definitely with your mental health, you definitely have to take those moments to really to focus on yourself. Like Pink said, like your mental health is not going to be important to anybody else but you. And if your mental health or your mental isn't where it should be, then you can't show up for everybody else. You can't be there for everybody else because you can't be there for yourself. So definitely taking time to do things that make you happy or do things that allow you to get away from whatever it is for the moment. And learning how to cope with things throughout life because it's life. We all got the same 24 hours in a day, and so many different things can happen. So you have to learn how to cope with things, and always remember that it's okay to feel how you feel. Just don't stay in that state, especially if it's a negative state of mind. And be open minded when it comes to mental health. Please don't think going to see a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist means that you are crazy. Um, Black folk, please get that out of your head, okay? Um, Therapy is great. I really can't wait to go back to therapy. Therapy is allows you to talk to someone that does not have a bias when it comes to you. That was one of the main reasons I personally went to therapy because I got tired of people telling me what they think I'm going to do or what they think I'm going to how I'm going to react based on because they feel like they know me. So going to therapy allowed me to talk to this person who don't know me from a can of paint and unpack certain things. So I definitely plan to go back to therapy because y'all nieces and nephews is driving me crazy on top of everybody else.
Therapy was very. So I used to be one of those people who was very against it because um, my parents tried to take me to therapy when I was a teenager, and it wasn't a regular therapist. It was a church-based therapy. I'm not against getting, spiritual help. Don't think that. I just think for the reason why he took me, it should not have been take me to church because I didn't feel comfortable. I felt like it was going to be biased because of how involved my dad was with that church. I just felt like, if I tell you, all you're going to do is go back and tell my dad, and that's not how it's supposed to work.
Don't get me started.
So I was very against it until my late 20s and after having several different experiences. And while my own personal therapy that I used to do used to be poetry, is how I would release it. It got to a point where it wasn't helping anymore, where I was stagnant. I didn't want to write anything else on paper. I didn't want to be an emotional person. I didn't want to be angry anymore. So going to therapy helped me learn how to use some of the things that I had already started using, but in a way that would actually be helpful. Learning how to address each feeling and address why I'm having this feeling, what made me be in this space, what can I do to get me out of this space. It was a lot of holding myself accountable and figuring out what are other ways that I can maybe sometimes it involves people that you can't get away from, so you have to figure out how to deal with them. And because you're so deep in it, you feel like there's no other choices. But like Phyllis said, they have an unbiased information that they can provide you in order to give you tools on how to process away from the situation, as well as helping you when they aren't present. Like, I don't want to be so reliant on someone else's energy to get me through something. I want to have those tools to be able to process it on my own. Um, Mental health, we've talked about that. It's not just important for an adult, but it's also important for your children. Um, because COVID did affect your children as well.
These COVID kids different.
And some of them, I don't know how these babies is doing it, because I don't think I could. The kindergarten and COVID messed a lot of kids up when they had to go to school.
Well, I think for kindergartners, I think those kids will be okay because they never experienced school until they actually went into school. Like, they experienced it, but
the transition.
But I feel like the ones that were in school, they were taken out of school, and now they're back in school. Like the middle schoolers that I had, I really had to remember that, especially the 7th graders, a lot of them spent 5th and 6th at home. 6th graders too, they spent 3rd and 4th at home. Because DC is different. Well, actually, a lot of schools is different now. Because I went to middle school in the 7th grade. You didn't have 6th grade in middle school, but you do now. But a lot of these kids, they don't have social skills. They don't have coping skills, and part of it is because if you think about during COVID, you had to sit at the computer viewing the screen. Half the kids weren't even doing that. It wasn't like, you had to be social per se, because some school districts only asked that the kid logged on. They didn't care if the child did work or anything. Still passed the child, and now y'all want me to do something with these kids when I'm still having to teach fundamental foundational skills that they don't have for the grade level they're on. But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But these kids really need to learn how to cope, because these kids don't know how to respond when you tell them no. You have to think about when these kids was at home with y'all for a year, if they got on your nerves when you told them no, and they started acting up, you would send them to their room, and they could go sit in their room. But in their room, it's a phone in there, it's an iPad, it's a TV, so they have all these things to do to calm them down, and then they could come back out in the room. You can't do that in the classroom. And so I'm seeing that these kids have a hard time with telling them no, shut things down, anything involving electronics. Like, it's just a lot. And they have no social skills. And it drives them crazy. No social skills, no manners. Like, and that's all about. And the mental health part of that is just like, they don't know how to cope with certain things, certain situations. Like, they don't know how to make friends. They don't know how to tell when someone is actually being mean to them. Like,
and that's the reason why I kind of said, like, for kindergartners, but I meant like for people for children, it's their first time going to school. Because understand that every kid goes to a preschool or a daycare. Some kids, their first time ever being in a school like atmosphere with other kids is kindergarten. So you having to do that during COVID, and then now you're in a classroom with other kids.
Well,
and them social skills.
I wouldn't use kindergarten because kindergartners are good. They're going to learn those social skills. Like, when they first come in. That's why it's hard for them, because they would have circle time and all that other stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily use the kindergartners per se, because they didn't have those skills in the first place. So they still will have the opportunity to learn those in elementary school. But when we've gotten to those who, because even in the intermediate elementary, there are still certain academic skills that they were supposed to get that they don't have, and now they're in 8th grade, and I gotta figure that out. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But I wouldn't necessarily use kindergartners because they still have, if they've never been into an actual school, being online, I don't think really had that much of as an effect, because when I worked at elementary school, kids is their first time, they clingy to their parents, they were crying, and the parents crying, all that stuff. Wow, like that's why I wouldn't use necessarily elementary school in that sense. But the older kids, yes, because think about it, the ones that started kindergarten the year that COVID shut down, kids don't retain a lot of stuff. So those that were in the midst of learning that, they lost it. So I could see that, or I could see like those who completed, who was in 1st grade and then had the rest of 1st and the whole 2nd grade online. Like I could see the detriment in that. But those that they ain't never been to school and they first time was coming in, I wouldn't really use them, because you could still, at 5 and 6, you could still develop them skills. But it's hard to develop those social skills and social cues, and it's hard to do that once they get once they get old, especially when they get to high school. I don't know to tell y'all, by like 16, your child is gonna pretty much, their personality, that's pretty much who they're gonna be. So
yeah, it's been really hard, like watching friends or people I'm cool with their kids after COVID. Like during COVID, it's like they felt like, okay, I got a little bit of break. I ain't gotta get up super early in the morning and get them dressed and go to school. I just gotta make sure that they log in. But the transition back into school has been hard because COVID ain't really gone. People still sending their kids to school sick, and so then they, it's so many different precautions that not just a child had to get back accustomed to, but also the adults had to get.
Yeah, I still wear my mask when I'm in the school, just because I'm in close quarters and a lot of us will be sick. So I don't wear it out and about everywhere I go, but definitely at schools, because kids do be coughing and sneezing, and we be too close, and they always touching stuff. Like, yeah, getting sick from a child, I don't know what type of germs they got, like super germs or something. Yeah, so that's why I still actually wear my mask at work when I'm in the building with the kids.
Yeah, it definitely hits different, and so I just want people to realize that, even though, because I still can't say this the transition period. I know y'all kids been back in school for like this the 2nd school year them going back to school now. But y'all still gotta check on y'all kids, because some of them know how to turn it on and off that they're okay, just like they're adults. But they not fully processing the things that they're going through, because you gotta remember, when they was online, people might have said little funny stuff in the classroom, but now they're back on the bus. And they're back where, or they have recess time, and they're really around these kids without that extra supervision. And so these kids different. This generation of kids, like, I ain't worked with kids in a minute now, and I probably ain't never going back.
I promise you,
I ain't never going back.
As long as I'm black, teach middle school again.
And I love kids. I do love kids. Don't get it twisted. I did that for 8.5 years. I love all them kids grown now. They in college somewhere. All them kids grown, and I just realized while I was there still, like, the kids were just changing. Like,
and
that's too much for me.
That's just what it is for me now. It's just these kids different, and I honestly am running out of patience for them. I'm running out of patience for their parents, because the parents act like, oh, my child will never. Your kid, and these kids lie. And I told somebody before, I said, as a teacher, I honestly, and it's the honest to God truth, could care less about mine or little Johnny, because I don't care. Okay, I'm not going out of my way to make up lies about what your child did. It's never that deep, because I don't care that much. Because when I leave my job every day at 3:45, I leave.
But see, this is so I know people didn't like me when I said this the last time. If you were involved with your kids' overall learning and you got to actually be around the teacher, you would know that the teachers don't be lying.
That part. And I have great, like the students that I had this year, I have great relationships with pretty much all my parents except for my mom, but whatever. But I have great relationships with them. So they know they kids. When I call them and or text them and let them know what's going on, okay, yeah, I know we'll address. It's not. Oh my God, what did you do? What did you say? What did you do? What did you say to them?
That
You must
definitely
have did
makes your job
something.
harder.
Like yeah,
Right.
that's why I gotta go because y'all not gonna sit up here and try to make it look like I'm triggering y'all kids or whatever. Child, bye. I got better things to worry about.
And you see, you in the city. I was in PG County. I'm
I
telling you,
did PG County.
didn't give two fucks.
I worked in PG County. I worked in Fairfax in a non-public. Like at this point, it's the same way across the board, whether they black, white, Hispanic, whatever. It's parents the same way across all. I don't work with white ED kids. I don't work with Hispanic ED kids. I don't work with black ED kids. I don't work with every race of child I could probably think of. And there are parents in every whatever. They're no different. They literally their parenting styles may be different, but it's always gonna be a few parents that's going they never believe that their child would do such things, and it's always the adult's fault. And at the end of the day, I ain't telling nobody how to parent their kid, but you setting your child up for failure. That's why a lot of them can't even do stuff independently now because, and I've seen this, and even in conversation with adults who have teenagers that work with them in business or whatever, like they gotta call their mama or they get mad or like But that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But take care of the children mental health. If your child needs some help, get them some help. They need to go see a therapist. Let them go to see a therapist. Most schools have social workers. They have therapists that can help them. They have counselors. Tell them that it's okay to not be okay and reach out. And also parents make them feel comfortable with being able to tell you that they need it because sometimes I ain't nothing wrong with you, just go to bed, or ain't nothing wrong. No, it really is something wrong, but how you curry it and make it seem like you don't care, then that's how they end up never saying anything.
You definitely got to create that space.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about it a lot when it comes to like our friend groups, especially with our male friends, is creating a space where they feel comfortable to discuss certain things because the world is not going to let, especially black men and men in general, feel comfortable expressing themselves in certain ways because it's a thing that we had to unlearn from generations. Is you don't got to carry all that weight on your back by yourself. You don't have to act like something never bothered you. Please find somebody, one person, at least one that you can fully trust that whatever I say or whatever we discuss stays right here unless you are detrimental to your own health.
Right. And I will say this, especially with the relationship aspect of being a safe place. Ladies, I've said this before, and I'm gonna say this again. Stop allowing that man to open up to you, and then you turn around and throw it back up in his face in an argument. You allowed that man to be vulnerable, and then you took his vulnerability and you slapped him in the face with it. Please stop doing that. Men have done the same thing to women as well, but we do it a lot more often to men, and this is why men don't feel comfortable opening up to us, talking to us, letting us know what's going on. I will say that in my last relationship, I was his safe space, and I will never throw up in his face stuff that we discuss, our real deep conversations. I would never do that. I would never put that on blast. And what makes it hard is, as a female who doesn't do that, men are surprised, for one, or two,
They hold back so much.
They hold back because of the previous relationships, and sometimes their mama do that to them too. So mama, stop doing that to your sons.
Yeah.
So then when they do meet somebody who is really genuine, it's a lot harder on us because we the type of people, we not gonna throw nothing back up in your face. I'm not like that with any of my friends. So that's why also my friend group is one of them, because there have been people that I've allowed myself to be vulnerable with, and then you turn around and you flip it on me, or you use it to try to throw it back up in my face. So now not only am I ready to fight you, but now I'm hurt because I opened up to you thinking that you cared, and then you turn around and use it as a manipulating tool against me. So we really have to create a safe space. I tell my students that, and I work with a lot of young Black men, and so I even tell like my male students that cry, please cry. Crying is good. Crying is a release. Crying helps you get it out. Cry.
We ain't saying cry all day though.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I ain't saying cry all day.
I know.
I cry when I'm frustrated or when I'm mad. If I'm mad to the point that I'm crying, just know that at this point in my life, I really want to commit violence against you. But I'm really over here trying to keep it together, and I like my good government job. So, yeah. But please allow people to be emotional. Allow young men to be emotional and to cry, because it's okay. Crying, honestly, I feel like crying is not a sign of weakness. It takes a strong person to cry. Now, unless you just crying all day, every day, then I'm going to be like, okay, we got to figure something out. But usually a lot of people, when they do get to the point where they're crying, it's because they frustrated, stuff built up or whatever. So it's a release. You release it, and then you let it go, and you move on. Excuse me, but it's just remember that it's okay to cry, and I cry too. Guys.
Yeah,
okay.
I do. I cry if I'm frustrated. Once I reach a certain level of anger, and sometimes I'm just having an off day, and so I gotta cry. Then I gotta listen to music. Then I gotta laugh. Like that's my process.
And I'm gonna cry, but then I'm gonna boss up.
Yeah, like I ain't one of the people. I ain't gonna be crying for no hour. It's gonna be a hot 5 minutes, and then you gotta keep it moving. Like, and most of the times I'm in a space now where I know exactly why I'm crying. Like what got me to this point. What I need to do next that had to come out, and so it's like, all right, you got it out. You good. You saw what's on the agenda now. Like you have to keep it moving because you'll get stuck in that place. Your mind will convince you that overall, because of one thing, overall, you're sad about everything when it's really just one thing. So you have to have that strong willpower in mind to keep it constantly moving. If your thoughts begin to overwhelm you, I tell people write it down. If you write it down and it's something that's negative that you're trying to get rid of, I generally tell people write on a piece of paper, burn it, put it in a balloon, let it go.
Yes, burn it. Burn it. I do that. I've done that.
Those things have helped me, as well as when it comes in the friend group aspect. Like I've learned to get myself now where you have to voice your boundaries as the friend that's receiving the information. And so I ask questions now. I'm like, are you just venting or do you want my advice? Because sometimes people just want to vent and they don't really want no feedback. Sometimes people want the feedback, and so you just have to ask those questions so you know what space you're going into. And so you can, I don't like to say compartmentalize, but asking that question in the beginning helps relieve a lot of unnecessary or awkward tension.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just want to call and vent, say, look, I just need to vent to you. I don't really need no rah rah rah. I just need to let it out.
But also, before you start venting, asking that person, like, are you in a space for that? And I think that was a issue that I really had in one of my previous friendships. It just was like you just start pouring and dumping on me, but my day has been trash too. So honestly, I really could care less about what you dumping and pouring on me right now because I'm trying to deal with my own. So that's also something to do because especially for somebody like me, like I said, I take on other people's problems because I be trying to be there for everybody. So I have learned, like, you know what, if I'm just not in that space, like, I would be like, I don't think, not right now, or give me a minute, or, whatever the case may be. But I really don't have that issue with too many of my friends, like, because we all know that we're all battling our own things, so we always checking on each other. Like, I feel like my friendships now that I'm older are very low maintenance, where it doesn't have to be, I don't have to talk to you every single day or whatever the case may be. Like, okay, I talk to you periodically. I mean, I do have friends that I talk to every single day. I know I talk to Damo every day. So if I don't talk to Damo, it's a problem. But other than that, I get mad. I don't talk to them. I be in my feelings.
Me and my brother is similar to that, but it's like if a day go by and we don't talk to each other that day, then either we trying to call each other at the same time, we be like, "Hey, yo," and then I'm like, "Bro, I was just about to call you." Like,
it'll be something like, even if we not like FaceTime, because we literally FaceTime just about every single day. But even if it's not a FaceTime, it's still like a text or some correspondent that we somehow, some way we talk to each other. But I just feel like a lot of my friends, like, we all have our own things, so our friendships are very low maintenance. Like, one of my closest friends lives in Florida. He moved to Florida like 2-3 years ago, but we ain't missed a beat. And we just talked about yesterday how low maintenance our friendship is. It's super low maintenance. Like, we check on each other, we talk to each other, we get a good kiki, and because one thing we gonna do, we gonna laugh. So get a good little kiki, and then it is what it is. So
definitely that low maintenance friendship. Like, I didn't really understand it, I said, like 10 years ago, but now, like, I get it. Like, I'm probably the only person left in the friend circle outside of you that don't have no kids, and so everybody else got kids, and or they're married, and so it's like, I get it. Do your thing. I ain't even mad at you because in my job I gotta talk all day, so sometimes I don't even feel like talking.
Maybe next time. I talk to little people all day. Well, not little, because they think they're grown. But yeah, and I definitely feel that, like, it's been. This is how I know that it's just been chaotic. It's been times I come home and I'm sitting in complete silence, like no TV on, nothing, just sitting, or I never drive off work without blasting music, so that's never gonna change.
Music, and it's gotta be something that make me laugh. So it might be music and TikTok, it might be music and Instagram, it might just be music.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a lot of times where I haven't turned the TV on for days.
I'm gonna turn TV on because
I won't turn TV on for days. I hear music though. But
I go to sleep to SpongeBob every night. Don't judge me, but that's just is that or the Golden Girls. But that's just like my way to, like, decompress from the day. And, like, my kids laugh at me because I'm like, I really watch SpongeBob because y'all be stressing me out. And I watch the news. So after watching the news and learning about all the craziness in the world, I just find a way to decompress. And that's how I decompress with cartoons.
So you said a key word, decompress. I think that's important for anyone to do, no matter what age level you're at. Decompressing from your day, learning how to kind of like separate those things. Like, that's kind of a small thing that I miss about being in an office every day, because I can leave work at work and home at home. When you telework, you can't do that because you're already
And
home.
see that.
So I spend a lot of time just sitting in my car. Like I probably burn so much damn gas sitting in my car once it's cold and using that as decompression.
But I definitely understand that because I think that's another thing that really has me leaning towards removing myself from education because COVID. Okay, first of all, education period, people don't have boundaries. Don't call me or text me after 3:30, 3:45 about what's going on at work because I promise you I don't give a fuck. I promise you. Unless the kid is like hurting or something or they end up in the hospital and it's like, oh, so what's up? All right, cool. But then after that, it's like it ain't but so much I can do as the teacher or the whatever. But COVID, really, there were no boundaries in education because now not only are we working at home, which most educators do, but now y'all in our homes because now we sitting on camera. Like it's just for me, I trying to create that work home balance. It's hard to do in education because people really just don't understand boundaries. Like, don't send me no emails at 10 o'clock at night because I promise you, I'm not checking my email till I get in the building and open my laptop up. But you got people, I literally ask my coworkers, I say, y'all be checking y'all emails before y'all in the morning? Like, the first thing y'all get up no. When I get up in the morning, I'm hitting snooze 3 times first of all before I get up.
I'm not even a morning person, so it's just stressful.
So it's just like it's that boundary part, and so what irritates me, and this has happened throughout my whole entire scholastic career. I'm not gonna say not too much in elementary with PG County, but in my latter years, like the gym is literally my happy place. So when you're calling my phone at 4:30, when I got off an hour ago to ask me about some grades and some progress reports, I'm ready to not only swing on everything in the gym, but now I'm ready to drive back to work and smack the shit out you because why are you calling my phone? And y'all probably like, oh, that's super aggressive. No, because don't call me after work hours.
And what they say on what was that? That wasn't a temptation. It was find me my office hours off.
Exactly, and you really have to be like it's certain coworkers that I'm developed friendships with them outside of work. So we'll text each other, and we might talk about work, but it might be some gossip and shit, or we just sharing TikToks or something like that, or Instagram posts. That's cool. Like I don't mind that. But if you literally we sitting on the phone the whole time, you ask me about certain stuff like and even like now there are days like my supervisor, because me and her are kind of close, so we'll vent to each other. Now that's something different. Now we'll call because educators understand educators. That's why I'm always venting to my brother Aaron because he was a teacher, so he kind of and he'll literally just sit with me on the phone and let me vent, and then he be laughing because people always be laughing at me when I be saying the things that I'm saying, but I be dead ass serious.
Why do people do that?
Yeah, because I made a joke about a roach rodeo, right? But I was venting about roaches, and I was saying my frustration about the roaches, but he laughed, and that was the running joke for the rest of the conversation. So
I know I was serious, and then I don't like it because like if I'm talking like this and I'm saying something, that means I'm serious, and you gonna know if I do.
But all my friends are like that. Everybody be laughing at me, and everything is like it's funny because we know you did that serious. That's why. We be laughing.
So that was the only person that happened to.
No,
y'all be laughing at the wrong time. I'm dead ass right now.
But now for y'all, definitely let me reel it back in. Definitely decompress though. Like we all need that. You need to find a way every day to decompress from your day. Like it's even got to the point now. Like when I come home, like my parents might ask me, "Hey, good evening.
Give me a minute.
Hey, I just walked in. I got 4 bags on me. Hey, how you doing? Good evening. How was your day? Like, give me that. Don't come in the house and start asking me 50, 11,000 questions. Just hey, how you doing? So, and that's another way also to create those boundaries with that, because again, some people take it personal. It ain't nothing personal. It's just like I literally just walked in the door. Give me a minute. Let me decompress. Let me go put my lunchbox down. Let me go put my gym bag down. Like, give me a moment to decompress from the day. And you gotta allow your kids to do that. I actually told my students, because I said, when I used to get, before I started getting involved in extracurricular activities, when I used to come home from school, get off the bus, I literally used to go, give me a bowl of cereal and watch a Disney movie. I did that every day. It was either Beauty and the Beast, The Little Mermaid, or Sleeping Beauty, or Cinderella, something, all the princess movies. But that was my way to come home, decompress, eat my little bowl of cereal, and then I did my homework. But I got a chance to just come in, be a kid for the moment that's not sitting in the classroom, and then let my brain relax, let my brain chill out, and then I got to work. So everybody, whether from the smallest kid to the oldest person, we all need to decompress when you're transitioning throughout your day. Like, even sometimes after my first 2 periods, sometimes I take a moment, like, I got teacher bladder, so I can go pee and all, like, but it's giving me a chance to decompress from my morning classes to kind of, all right, get myself together to do whatever I need to do and prepare for my last class of the day. But you need that. You need those moments, and we need to create those moments for ourselves and for anybody else.
Because it's not just for separating work from home. It's anything. Even if it's a day off for me, if I have things that I have to do, once I finish doing those things, I gotta decompress, because my mind sometimes be going 100 miles per hour, thinking about everything else I may need to do. And so my mom will tell you, I spend a lot of time. She think I be gone. I be sitting right out front in my car, just like woosah. And it's not that, I don't want to spend time with her or talk to her. It's just that some days are more draining than others, and I don't want to hear no voices. Don't ask me to do nothing, because sometimes you don't know how you're going to react if someone interrupts you before you get to decompress. So it's like, just let me woosah for a minute. Now, I do got to work on how much time I be decompressed, because sometimes my 30 minutes be turned into, damn, I've been sitting here for 3 hours trying to decompress. And it's just, sometimes your thoughts can take over that time. And that's how I know I really need to go on a vacation. Because my decompression time goes 0 to 100 real quick.
And that's why, like, when people laugh, but like when I went to Altoona over the summer, I promise y'all I did nothing but eat and drink, because there was nothing to do there. But I wasn't at home. I wasn't running back and forth to the hospital. I wasn't having somebody calling me, asking me to do this. I literally just got a moment to do nothing, and the trip that I have planned for my birthday, I'm gonna do some stuff, but I'm not pressed to do anything. Like, literally, if I could just go, because it's a change of scenery, and just chill out for those 3 or 4 days, as long as I can eat, get a little drink, that's all I want. Like, I just don't want responsibilities, and I won't have any, because
it's super important.
It is. And honestly, with my job is demanding, was what I'm dealing with at home is demanding, and it's all on me. I don't have no siblings that, I'll pass my mom off to you real quick while I go do, like, everything's all on me. So I need that moment to just kind of regroup and come back. And I honestly started doing that during COVID. When we kind of opened back up, I would go get hotel rooms and duck off by myself and stuff like that. And even though I would be like maybe 45 minutes from my house, but it was just a different change of scenery, and I would really be by myself. And it's just that moment, you by yourself, nobody blowing your phone up, nobody asking you 11 questions.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Like,
because I never thought of it. For me, it was always, I gotta get far away.
No, girl.
And when I say far
I
away,
got my little duck off spot. I ain't gonna tell y'all.
It gotta be an hour or better for me.
My little duck off spot 30 45 minutes. It's actually like 20 minutes. But 30 to 45 minutes. And I would get my food. I give me a bottle of wine or whatever, and I literally would just relax. And like, I think during that time period, I was rewriting my books. I wrote my book. We wrote some.
Y'all, we can't wait for this book.
I know, y'all. I know. I got a plan. It's coming soon. It's coming sooner than y'all think. I actually rewrote goals. Like I really just decompressed. I was just like, I can't do this. Book me a room, and I was gone for the whole weekend. And I only came out to get something to eat.
That's a really good idea. Like, I'm really gonna have to incorporate that, because for me, when I feel like I need a break or need to get away, I always want to go so far.
Yeah, like people really be wanting to go far, but you really
can. But I think it may work.
You just gotta go where you know you're not gonna run into nobody. So where I duck off at, I ain't gonna tell you.
I gotta go
You don't gotta go that far. Well, where I duck off at,
I'm gonna have to go.
I'm not gonna run into it's gonna be rare. If I really was to run into somebody, I know I'm like, damn, what you doing here? But it's really, really rare. I've never ran it. I've done it a couple times. One time I went north. The other time I went further south. I was still in Maryland. I just was in different cities in Maryland.
I'm gonna just have to go in random.
Not in Prince George's County. Let me just say that. But yeah, but I didn't run into nobody. Well, first of all, I barely moved my car. I literally went to go eat. I would go to get food and come back and just sit in my room and mind my business. And I was so happy. So happy.
That would help a lot. So my goal for 2022 was to go on the trip, go somewhere at least once a month. Even if like 1 month it was still in Maryland and the other month it was out of state. Yeah, so that didn't happen for me. I think the last road trip I went on was in May when I went to Charlotte.
I'm doing a couple of good trips.
I was really sad I couldn't go with y'all.
Yeah, Altoona was fun.
I just wanted to go. So if y'all don't know by now, like I'm really I'll drive where we going person. Like, where we going? I have no problem driving nowhere. I was driving an hour.
Pick me up.
2 hours. I didn't drove all the way to Atlanta and back by myself, and just me driving. So like, I'm really that driver.
Pick me up.
As long as I got that music, I'm good.
You know me, I drove to Altoona, but that was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's not a bad drive. Yeah. I was like, that trip was at a time I really needed it, but I had to be a sibling because my brother had a baby shower.
Oh yeah.
And so, my niece is here now, y'all. The baby's here.
Congrats, auntie.
Yeah, got another one coming. I've been told I have one coming in April. Another niece coming in April.
Please don't let that baby be an Aries.
And this one, I mean, I don't care if they my kids. They got their parents. They can go stay with their parents. I'm just the auntie. You call me if you get in trouble, and I can save you. If you need me to come pick you up, I'm that auntie. We can go and hang out and do stuff together. But if your parent already told you no, then don't come. I can't save you. I just ease it a little bit. But we just wanted to address all of these issues where some of them are physical and health issues. Some of them are mental. Just take all of it very, very serious. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself, because while people surrounding you do love you, I promise you they are always going to take care of their personal things and their personal and mental health first before they try to put yours first, which is okay, because that's what we should do. That our happiness is our responsibility, and if we're having an off day, we have to solve that. We cannot be reliant on other people. Y'all know we always close our show out with words of wisdom. You go first.
I can go first. All I'm going to say is, because again we put a lot of emphasis on your overall health, But definitely mental health is definitely important. But definitely find time to decompress. Find something that you like to do, or find a way to decompress. And decompress doesn't have to be like you gotta take a drive or you go to the gym every day or whatever. Decompress could be just sitting in your car, think about your day, or taking a shower, just relaxing. Because sometimes that's how I do. I do my best thinking when I'm working out, doing cardio, and taking a shower. That's when I do my best thinking. So even when I'm in the shower, I'm decompressing because I'm running through my day, running through how things went, just thinking about, okay, maybe I could have did this better, stuff like that. But I'm decompressing because I'm allowing myself to go through my day and figure out a better way for it to be better tomorrow. So I will definitely say, please take time to decompress. Find a way to keep your mental health strong. And always remember to live fearless.
Okay, so as we talked about we talked about breast cancer awareness, domestic violence, and World Mental Health Day. As we stated, all of those things tie together because your mental health can affect your physical, and your physical health can affect your mental. Find things to help you make them work together for you. What works for someone else may not work for you. So it's okay if you have to do trial and error for several different things to get the result that you want. Just make sure that you understand that it is your responsibility to take care of you and not anyone else's, unless you're a child. But you still need to make sure that you are voicing your boundaries, voicing your needs to your tribe or whoever is around you, whether it be family or friends. Sometimes you have to set those healthy boundaries so that people around you don't um, don't intervene in the time thinking that they're trying to come help you when you're just taking a little bit of me time. So we will see y'all very soon.
Yes, soon.
And make sure that y'all stay tuned for all the events that we have coming up. I'm going to drop some dates for some pop-ups. Because let me tell y'all, I didn't tell y'all because I didn't really do a good review on the page. But Poppin' Potato is bomb as shit. Shout out to Sethnisha and her husband. I've had a chance to order from her twice. And I almost cried when I missed the pop-up shop one day. But Poppin' Potato is bomb as shit. Like, please make sure that y'all catch her. I know that she's going to be at a pop-up shop. I think that's November the 5th is her next pop-up shop. So I'm going to post that and share it. Of course, you follow us on social media. And make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube page. Please. And we will see y'all later.
Problem, I gotta solve it, yeah. Wasting my time all on my line, shawty done took it there. She feels so guilty, come to my woman, telling on our affairs. She feels so guilty, come to my woman, telling on our affairs. Little mama, don't play it like that. She got my aim with the gat. She by the cast of De Niro. That's all she needs, all she needs, all she needs. These bitches too easy, I got a problem, I gotta solve it, yeah. These bitches too easy, I got a problem, I gotta solve it, yeah.
I was up in the party, shot it was iron, so bold and so cold. Pussy wet fishbowl, hit it once, won't more. These bitches too easy, I gotta slow it down. Day and night, I'm going round and round. She love me more when she touchdown. She fuck me just like the camera's on. She fuck me just like no manners. She can make 1,000 days go good. Got some class, but she from the hood. Don't get it twisted, I got an addiction, but my situation be lit. That pussy got Adderall withdrawals. Told her to pull up on me, no trial, yeah.
These bitches too easy, I got a problem, I gotta solve it, yeah. Wasting my time all on my line, shawty done took it there. She feels so guilty.